What happened on the Greek island of Santorini? Since the end of January 2025, the island of Santorini has become the epicenter of alarming events. A series of powerful earthquakes shook this paradise corner of Greece, causing panic among locals and tourists. Scientists point to tectonic processes as the cause of the events. However, reassuring statements about the non-involvement of the Kameni volcano and the underwater monster Colombo only partially alleviate the tension. Concerns remain. No one guarantees that the next blow from nature won't be catastrophic. Santorini is gradually turning into a ghost town. The mass evacuation began on February 2nd. Thousands of people hurried to leave the island using any available means of transport. About 6,000 people crossed to the mainland by ferries, while another 2,700 flew home. The island emptied, as if before an impending apocalypse. The situation at the end of February 2025, according to seismologists, the earthquakes that tormented the island of Santorini for an entire month have finally started to subside. The tremors, following one after another with frightening regularity, forced thousands of locals and tourists to leave the cozy towns crowning the rocky peaks of Santorini, as well as the neighboring islands of Ios, Amorgos, and Anaphi. Only closed schools and strict restrictions remind of the anxiety of the past weeks. In mid-February, scientists spoke of glimmers of hope when it was recorded that the number of earthquakes was declining. Activity is slowly decreasing, as noted by the Interdisciplinary Committee for Risk and Crisis Management of the University of Athens. Fewer tremors, less destruction. From January 26th to February 22nd, seismic stations recorded more than 20,000 underground tremors with a magnitude of 1 and above. Their strength reached up to a certain level, but there were no serious destructions. The natural processes driving the Earth's plates and magma under the sea have not yet led to a catastrophe. And most likely will not lead to one. At least, that's what scientists say. The mayor of Santorini, Nikos Zorzos, announced that since the end of the last week of February, the first residents have started returning to the island. Local authorities are hoping for state assistance in organizing additional safety measures for the island, which will help prevent rockfalls by installing protective barriers on steep slopes. The dangerous paradise of Santorini is the heart of the Aegean Sea, whose beat can be heard through the millennia. Located in the picturesque Cyclades archipelago, this natural gem possesses a unique atmosphere, born from the harmony of wind, sun, and sea waves. The island's climate is harsh and unyielding. The hot summer scorches the skin, while the cool winter rains bring the land back to life. But Santorini is not just a solitary island. It is a family of volcanic lands, each carrying its own unique story. The main character is Thera, surrounded by its brothers and sisters, Thyrasia, Aspanasi, Palea, and Kameni. Each of these lands holds memories of times when history was just beginning. Archaeological findings tell us about the first settlers who appeared here long before our era, and about the great Minoan cities erased from the face of the earth by powerful blows of nature. Santorini is a place where the force of nature has manifested in full strength. The earthquake of 1650 BC destroyed what was once a mighty city, leaving behind only ruins. The volcano, like an ancient master, created a caldera, a huge depression filled with seawater. After the catastrophic earthquake of 1956, life on Santorini came to a standstill, and only decades later, starting from the 1970s, did this corner come back to life, transforming into one of the main tourist centers of the Mediterranean. The overall picture of seismic activity over the entire period. From January 26 to February 22, 2025, the Santorini Amorgos area experienced a real barrage of underground tremors. According to the Interdisciplinary Commission for Risk and Crisis Management of EKPA, more than 22,600 earthquakes were recorded. Meanwhile, with each passing day, the underground shocks became weaker, as if nature was gradually releasing accumulated tension. The EKPA Seismology Laboratory provided detailed data on the magnitude of the earthquakes. More than 19,300 exceeded the threshold of 1 magnitude. Over the course of 2 days, February 18th and 19th, the region was shaken more than 1,050 times with magnitudes, ranging up to several points. The most powerful shocks occurred on the morning of February 18th, at local time. An earthquake with a magnitude of several points was recorded, and north of the island of Anadrozat. In the morning, the strongest earthquake of the day in this area occurred with a magnitude of several points. On February 20th, the activity began to decline. On this day, there were only 57 earthquakes, and none of them reached a magnitude of 4 points. On the night of February 21st, at 12:09 a.m., the last noticeable tremor occurred with a magnitude of several points. Scientists confirmed that since mid-February, seismic activity in the region has significantly decreased, and new outbreaks of underground storms ceased. Even a new focus that emerged east of the island of Anadrós on February 18th with a tremor of several points did not cause further intensification. Scientists' observations. After a month of tense anticipation, the residents of Santorini finally felt some relief. The waves of underground tremors that battered the island began to subside, offering hope for a peaceful future. Seismologists, geologists, and volcanologists continued to closely monitor the depths of the Earth, gathering fresh data that helped to better understand what was happening. The Santorini program, created to study the volcanoes of Santorini, played a key role in monitoring the situation. Together with German scientists, researchers from the National University of Athens installed the latest underwater seismographs right in the caldera to capture even the faintest vibrations of the sea floor, where background noise is almost absent. These devices transmitted invaluable data to the National Observatory of Athens, where it underwent thorough analysis. The University of Athens also focused on studying potential landslides threatening the settlement of Santorini, using unmanned aerial vehicles equipped with high-precision cameras and LiDAR sensors conducted round-the-clock patrols of dangerous coastal areas, creating maps of the terrain with millimeter accuracy. The areas of Palea, Limnos, Amaudi, Armeni, Carphos, and Athenios were under special control, as the risk of landslides was particularly high there. Every day, scientists process vast amounts of data, thousands of images, and millions of laser scanning points to monitor the slightest changes in the terrain. The analysis showed that seismic activity was indeed stabilizing. The tremors were becoming less frequent and weaker. The main focus remained in the same place in the southwestern sector near Anadrós. This gave reason to believe that schools on Santorini and Amorgos could reopen after March 3, 2025, marking the beginning of a return to normal life. Additionally, the island administration began implementing a plan to create specialized evacuation ports, which will serve as reliable havens of rescue in the event of future cataclysms. Research for the construction of one such port in Blachata has been completed, and now the possibility of building a second port in the Aquacolumbus area on the northeastern side of the island is being studied. What is an earthquake, and why does it occur? An earthquake is a powerful manifestation of the Earth's internal energy, resulting from the movement of tectonic plates. The Earth's crust, like a mosaic, consists of many large plates that are constantly moving relative to each other, sliding over the semi-liquid mantle beneath them. In most cases, earthquakes occur due to the collision of these plates. When two plates converge, they create immense pressure, accumulating energy that is eventually released, causing powerful underground jolts and vibrations of the Earth's surface. During an earthquake, the movement of the plates can range from microscopic shifts to sudden jumps of several feet. The magnitude of an earthquake depends on the amount of displacement along the fault. The greater the displacement, the stronger the earthquake. However, even small displacements can have devastating consequences if the earthquake occurs in populated areas, or if the ground amplifies the seismic waves, increasing their impact on buildings and infrastructure. The intensity of earthquakes is measured in points on a scale from 1 to 12, where 12 corresponds to catastrophic consequences, when almost all structures are destroyed and the ground cracks, turning the landscape into chaos. Geography of active earthquakes. Earthquake epicenters are unevenly distributed across the planet, concentrating along the boundaries of lithospheric plates, like patterns on a map outlining lines of tension within the Earth. The main seismic belt runs through the Pacific Ocean, where up to 80% of the planet's seismic energy is released annually. These zones, like battle arenas of ancient titans, repeat the same scenarios of collisions and ruptures, leading to the formation of volcanoes and mountain ranges. This is why mountainous regions, such as the Himalayas or the Andes, so often experience underground tremors. In Russia, earthquakes are also associated with the junctions of lithospheric plates. Baikal, Kamchatka, and Primorai are regions where the Earth's crust experiences constant stress, reflected in regular underground tremors. Major cataclysms in the world in 2025. The earthquake forecast. for 2025, compiled by seismologists using modern analytical tools and artificial intelligence support, evokes a range of emotions, from doubt to concern. The focus is on the Pacific region, specifically its southwestern part. According to researchers, March 2025 will bring an unexpected threat. The metropolis of Tonga in Papua New Guinea is threatened by a powerful underground strike. The probable coordinates of the epicenter have already been determined. The point is located miles northeast of the settlement of Hayafo on the island of Niuafo'ou. The chromatic Tonga lithospheric plate boundary zone, like a predator preparing to pounce, is accumulating energy capable of causing a catastrophic shift in the Earth's crust. The estimated magnitude is expected to range around 9, which foretells a terrifying scenario. The affected areas will include Papua Samoa, Fiji, and the surrounding islands. The number of potential victims is estimated at 111,000 people. Moreover, the majority of the tragedy will be linked not so much to the seismic tremors themselves, but to the subsequent tsunami, whose waves will reach a height of 138 feet. The strongest earthquake in the USA. The Pacific Fault on the west coast of the USA is starting to show signs of awakening. Deep underground, where the plates compress and shift, energy is building up that could trigger an earthquake of devastating force. With a magnitude of points, it is capable of altering the landscape of California, Washington, and Oregon, challenging cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, Tacoma, Eugene, and Portland. If the disaster occurs, its effect will be akin to a tsunami strike 98 feet high. A giant wave will surge far inland, flooding dozens and hundreds of miles of coastline, reaching into the heart of the state of Oregon. The consequences will be unimaginable. Millions of people will be left homeless, and the infrastructure will be paralyzed. The economy will suffer heavy losses, amounting to billions of dollars. Returning to normal life will require enormous efforts. Power supply in remote areas will be restored only after 3 months, and full hospital operations will begin only after a year and a half. However, the exact timelines are unknown. The fault could awaken at any moment, starting from 2025 up to 2027. Earthquakes and tsunamis in South Asia. The year 2027 may go down in history as an epical trial for Southeast Asia. Geological processes hidden beneath the Earth's surface are ready to emerge, changing the familiar picture of the world. A vast zone of lithospheric plate contact, stretching from Singapore to Bangkok, is ready to awaken. The majestic force of nature will prepare an explosive movement. The crust will shift 656 feet and rise 33 feet, causing one of the most terrifying earthquakes in human history. 3 million lives will be cut short instantly when the wrath of the earth pours over cities and villages. Catastrophic. Landslides off the coast of Indonesia will unleash a mighty tsunami wave, which will sweep over. The monster from the depths will engulf the coast. Waves 118 feet high will crash onto Singapore, swallowing buildings and streets as if they were made of sand. China, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Brunei, and the Philippines will be at the epicenter of the disaster. Tibet. A recent series of earthquakes in the Tibet Autonomous Region of China once again reminded us of the unpredictability of nature. The first tremor, with a magnitude of a certain level, served as a warning signal, and soon after, a new earthquake with a magnitude of 5 followed, both at a depth of only Sweden. The morning turned out to be a turning point when the ground beneath the feet of Tibet's residents shook once again. The impact was closest to the city of Shigatse, with a population of 110,000 people, located just 39 miles from the epicenter. The event on January 7, 2020, of the year when the magnitude reached points, claiming the lives of 126 people, remind us that the earth beneath our feet sometimes behaves like an untamed beast, ready to break free at any moment. A pony in waiting. On January 13, 2025, the southeastern coast of Kyushu Island was shaken by a powerful earthquake with a magnitude of points. The jolt, like a thunderclap, occurred at 9:19 p.m. local time, at a depth of almost 100,000 feet. The aftershocks of the earthquake rippled across the entire island of Kyushu, reaching up to 5 points in strength, and on the island of Shikoku and vast areas of Honshu, from Hiroshima to Osaka, tremors were felt up to 3 points. Residents of the eastern shores of Kyushu and the southern regions of Shikoku were warned of a possible wave up to feet high. For the Amami, Takara, Tanegashima, Yakushima Islands, and some parts of Honshu, a tidal wave up to 8 inches was forecasted. In the areas of the Sendai and Ikata nuclear power plants, tremors up to 3 points in strength were recorded. However, the nuclear power plant staff did not detect any operational disruptions or deviations in radiation levels. Sochi in the rhythm of underground tremors. On February 13, 2025, Sochi once again reminded us of its proximity to nature. During the day, the city felt underground tremors that spread across various areas of the resort. Local residents, accustomed to the slight trembling of the ground, noticed something unusual this time. It shook longer than usual, about 10 seconds, and the intensity was above average. The strength of the tremors was 4 points, and the magnitude on the Richter scale reached points. Despite the noticeable strength of the earthquake, the Sochi City Hall confirmed that no serious damage occurred. All essential services are operating as usual. No reports from residents were received, as stated by city administration representatives. Despite the alarming moments, life in the city continued without significant changes. Mariana Islands. March 1st. In 2025, local time, the Northern Mariana Archipelago felt a sharp jolt. An earthquake with a magnitude of points originated at a depth of 60 miles, rupturing 115 miles northeast of Saipan, the main island of the chain. The Northern Mariana Islands consist of 14 volcanic islands, among which Saipan, Tinian, and Rota stand out. Each of these places is the result of centuries of nature's work, where underwater volcanoes, like blacksmiths, forge new land masses rising from the depths of the ocean. Coral reefs surround the islands, creating a unique underwater world. On the eastern edge of the archipelago lies one of the greatest mysteries of the planet, the Mariana Trench. Its depth of 38,632 feet symbolizes the power and mystery of the ocean. The risk of volcanoes awakening in Antarctica. Research teams from Brown University and the University of Wisconsin-Madison conducted a thorough study of hidden volcanoes in West Antarctica, paying special attention to the West Antarctic Rift system. Geologists and volcanologists concluded that eruptions in the western part of the continent most often occur beneath a thick layer of ice, which serves as a natural barrier, slowing the magma's emergence to the surface. However, as the ice cover melts, the risk of active eruptions may significantly increase. Antarctica, as it turns out, is the largest glacial volcanic province on the planet, with more than 130 known volcanoes, both active and dormant. Some of them are completely hidden beneath the ice crust, while others rise above the surface. Volcanic activity on the continent is rarely observed, mainly due to the lack of a permanent human presence. However, scientists periodically find evidence of recent eruptions using satellite images. One such instance was the eruption of Mount Belinda on Montague Island in the South Sandwich Islands archipelago in 2001. What types of earthquakes are there? Tectonic earthquakes occur due to the slow but continuous movement of tectonic plates, which, like giant puzzle pieces, move under the influence of Earth's internal forces. The accumulated stress between the plates leads to the deformation of the Earth's crust. Cracks form, and the ground subsides. The direction of seismic wave propagation depends on the strength of the earthquake and can cover hundreds of miles, creating extensive zones of destruction. Volcanic earthquakes. This type of underground tremor is characterized by lower intensity and duration. It often lasts several months. They serve as a kind of precursor to an imminent volcanic eruption. The cause of their occurrence. The pressure of hot gases, and the sudden movement of molten lava inside the volcano, which leads to the accumulation of stress and the release of energy in the form of small tremors. Man-made and artificial earthquakes. Sometimes earthquakes occur as a result of human activities, when mining, dam and reservoir construction, as well as nuclear device testing, lead to the weakening of rock formations. Such earthquakes can occur in areas of oil and gas extraction, as well as near large mines and quarries. Reservoirs filled with large amounts of water also exert pressure on rock formations, which can trigger seismic activity. A striking example was the earthquake caused by a nuclear test in North Korea in 2006, which was felt in several neighboring countries. Underwater earthquakes. Such earthquakes cause strong oscillations of the sea floor, leading to the formation of giant waves. Tsunamis. As sections of the sea floor move up and down, They disrupt the balance of the water mass, generating waves that can reach heights from up to 33 feet at the shore. Modern seismic instruments allow for the prediction of an approaching tsunami several hours in advance, providing time for evacuation. Collapse earthquakes. These occur as a result of collapses and landslides, often have a low magnitude, and lead to serious destruction and tragedies. An example can be the incident in Peru, when an avalanche with a volume of 459 million cubic feet descended from Mount Huascaran, reaching speeds of up to 250 miles per hour, burying several villages and claiming the lives of over 18,000 people. Earthquakes from impacts of celestial bodies occur as a result of meteorites, asteroids, or comets falling to Earth. A celestial body, overcoming the atmosphere, collides with the planet's surface, causing an explosion and the spread of a shock wave, which is perceived as an earthquake. The consequences of an earthquake and how to behave correctly. An earthquake is one of the most insidious and unpredictable natural phenomena, posing numerous dangers to humans. Predicting the exact time and place of its occurrence is extremely difficult, which makes preparation challenging. At the first signs of an earthquake, it is necessary to urgently turn off electricity, water, and gas to prevent disasters that could worsen the situation. Forget about elevators. They can become a deadly trap. If the tremors intensify, seek shelter in sturdy corners, doorways, or under strong furniture that can protect you from falling objects. Avoid being near heavy cabinets and windows to reduce the risk of injury. Once outside, stay away from buildings and power lines, which can collapse or pose an electrical hazard. If you are in a car, stay inside until the tremors stop. The main danger of earthquakes lies not only in the tremors themselves but also in their aftermath. Collapsed buildings, damaged electrical wires, debris, shattered glass, erupting fires, and the panic that grips people, turning them into uncontrollable participants in the drama.